The central teaching of the Bhagavad Gita is Rajavidya, sovereign education, king of all education, the supreme knowledge one can ever gain. Therefore, any amount of education without the study of Gita remains incomplete. Unfortunately, the education we get from our schools and colleges focuses only on two partial aspects of living: doing and having. Therefore, doing and having has become the order of our contemporary way of life. A self centered way of living in which life is all about doing selfish work to accumulate, accumulate, and accumulate. Our schools and colleges teach us sciences but fail to teach us the science of life. Our schools and colleges offer various extravagant courses in the arts but fail to deal with the art of living. They make us count our marks but fail to enable us and make our lives count. In the process, we tend to forget that an ideal order of life is the being, doing, having, and giving. We can give only what we have, and we can have only what we do. To do anything right, it is important to address not just the doing, but also the being. Lord Krishna made Arjuna successful not by teaching him how to fight, not by teaching him how to fight better, but by transforming the being in Arjuna. Arjuna, to you who is without envy, I shall teach the most secret knowledge along with its practical application, on knowing which you will be freed from all inauspiciousness, declares Sri Krishna in the 9th chapter of the Gita, Rajavidya Rajaguhya Yoga. What is Rajavidya? What is Rajaguhyam? That knowledge which enables the direct realization of God is Rajavidya. What is this knowledge? It is bhakti. Bhakti rupapanna jnana. That is knowledge in the form of bhakti. In this chapter, Krishna declares that Bhakti Yoga is the king of all learning. It is the highest wisdom anyone can acquire. It is also Rajaguhyam, a sovereign secret. It remains a secret to those who are not qualified. Bhakti Yoga remains a top secret for those who are not initiated, whose minds are not purified. Bhakti has to be discovered. It is a process of self-remembrance. It is all about getting back to our original state. Bhakti is all about alignment to God. When we are aligned to the physical law of gravity, we are comfortable, be it sitting, standing, or walking. Even a slight misalignment results in discomfort. All the miseries of life are the result of our misalignment with God, the result of our misalignment to the supreme spiritual law of devotion, bhakti. When the alignment happens, supreme happiness is experienced. In his Gitartha Sangraha, Swami Alavandar summarizes the 9th chapter by highlighting 4 key messages. So mahatmyam manushyatve paratvam cha mahatmanam visesho navame yogo bhakti rupah prakirtitaha. The 9th chapter, Rajavidya Rajaguhya Yoga, deals with 4 key topics: God's unique greatness and glory, His undiminished divinity even in His incarnations in the human form, the characteristics of great souls, true devotees, and the special value of Bhakti Yoga as a means for God attainment. Sri Krishna reveals in this chapter His divine nature, His all-pervasive immanence in the universe, and also His unbounded and illimitable transcendence. He also highlights the important fact that He is the one and only supporter of this entire universe. The Supreme Lord, operating omnipotently in and through all existence, is not comprehended by the unwise. The unwise do not know Him and understand His nature. What is worse still, they do not recognize as such even when He incarnates Himself in this mundane world for the upliftment of humankind. To know God, what is needed is not just jnana, knowledge. This jnana has to mature and ripen to become bhakti. If the jnana does not mature to bhakti, it is useless tinsel. It is only through bhakti one can know Bhagavan. This chapter concludes with one of the most important verses of the Gita. Manmana bhava madbhakta madhyaji mam namaskuru mame vaishyasi yuktvaivam atmanam matparayanaha. Manmana bhava means to focus one's mind on the Paramatma. It also denotes dhyana, also named nididhyasana or upasana or dhruvasmriti in the Upanishads. This means unceasing meditation, constant contemplation on Sri Krishna, who is the Supreme Brahman endowed with infinite auspicious qualities. Madbhaktaha. This contemplation has to be practiced with loving devotion. Madhyaji bhava means the devotee should become engaged in the worship of God. Yajanam is being engaged in service to Lord with love. One's love for Bhagavan, which is in full bloom, will not let one remain idle. If forced to be idle, a true devotee cannot sustain himself. Hence, as an outlet for the effervescence of his unlimited love, the devotee tries and engages himself in constant service to the Lord. Mam namaskuru means to bow down or prostrate with all humility to God, regarding Him as the Supreme Being and the Jivatma as solely dependent on Him and subservient to Him. Matparayana means to regard Paramatma alone as the supreme goal. Atmanam yuktva means in this manner, the mind is to be disciplined towards God, the supreme object of attainment. Mame Vaishyasi means with such a practice of Bhakti Yoga, one will surely attain Sri Krishna. Thus, this verse establishes that Bhakti Yoga is the direct means to Bhagavat Sakshatkara, God realization. Sarvam Sri Krishna Arpanamastu.